G'day guys, and today I'm going to review the grand final for 2017. It was the Tigers getting across the line, 48-point winners on a big day, beating the Crows 108-60 there, as we can see. A big margin. The Tigers, let's be honest, they smashed pretty much everyone in the finals, as we saw throughout. They just seemed to get the job done very comfortably, beating the Cats by 51, then having a nice week off, and then going to beat the Giants by 6 goals at the G as well. And finally, capping it off, 37-year drought, getting the job done over the Crows. So, Crows have been in 3 grand finals. They won the previous 2 they've been in, and probably the worst team to ever go back-to-back, it's been argued. And you've got Tigers who just got the job done. I've said that about 20 times, but I'll stick with it for now. But yeah, I'll talk a little bit about the game and sort of how it all panned out. I've probably got more overriding thoughts about, I guess, the finals and the AFL in general and Norm Smith medalists and all those sorts of things. But yeah, I'll have a bit of a chat about sort of the nuts and bolts of it. But as we can have a look here, Crows got off to a good start. They kicked 2 in a few moments, about 5 or so minutes, and it looked like it was one of those performances where the Crows really got their wheels turning and about to, I guess, obliterate the opposition. They did similar to Geelong, kicking the first 2, getting off to that great start, and as you can see, they kicked the 4 of 6 in the first term. And after quarter time, there wasn't really much to crow about, unfortunately. They started reasonably well with some pretty plucky goals, I suppose. Good ball movement early, but as the game wore on, the Tigers wore the Crows down. And as you can see, some of the stats here, I'll just scroll down a little bit for you guys and have both teams in there without the AFL infringing there, which it is. The Tigers wore the Crows down. They've done it to teams over a long period of time this year, and over the final series they've been arguably their best form for 37 years, you could argue. That they've just put on immense pressure. It's very similar to the Bulldogs premiership, where they just found a way to apply unbelievable pressure on a roller coaster of emotions and somehow get across the line. And it seems to be, I'm not going to take away from Richmond's win. It was amazing. They're an amazing team this year. But no longer seems to be great teams winning it, more so great systems. It has to be said, really. If we could put a to-do list on winning a premiership, be a Melbourne-based side, apply amazing pressure over a number of weeks, and just formulate a game plan that finds a way to win. But yes, 2012 was the last time an interstate club won premiership, so getting much tougher to get the job done if you're an interstate side. Not many games at the G, and then when you do play a side at the G, they're generally going to be a pretty good side. So it's not only do you have to be a great side in general, but also you have to have pretty decent form at the G. And the Crows have been shaking a few of their games they played this year. They got the job done on a few occasions, but not convincingly. Collingwood, they were 50 points down, and they drew. But look, to be that far down against the Pies is quite amazing in the first place. I guess I'll get back to the game, and I guess at half time the Tigers up by 10 points, but it felt like they had all the momentum. They were getting all the ground ball. They were really making the most of their chances. They were getting on top of things. They just moved the ball with so much freedom and willingness to work, and they just edged it forward, a bit like Hawthorn of the past, where they just find a way to keep moving the ball forward. Most of the Tigers footy isn't too pretty. It's just gut-wrenching stuff that gets them, I guess, goals. They put on so much pressure, causing turnovers. Doesn't allow Adelaide to play the game they want to play. And when you got the pressure from that mosquito fleet up forward, it's amazing how much the game's turned around. They really stifled and stagnated the Crows' ability to move through the corridor. They were wide all the time. They were going sideways. They were going down the line, which isn't the Crows' go. And when they were, Richmond were picking it off at the bottom of the pack. And then, obviously, the Crows are going forward because they're moving forward. Other players are going that direction. And then once there's a turnover, Richmond, on the other way, catch them out the back there. And the Crows weren't able to do that because of Richmond's pressure and the way they sat behind the ball. They've been the best defence all year, I believe. And they've scored nearly 100 points every week. So, in the final series, except for against Geelong, so maybe their performance wasn't too bad in the end. Probably the best suitor, I suppose. Maybe the Giants second best there, but Adelaide, say they're worst for last. They'd be absolutely disappointed. One that it never seems to be the team that finishes first wins the flag. I think Sydney were first last year, Geelong first in 2008, Collingwood first in 2011, 2012 Hawthorn were first, they lost, and I think 2014 Sydney were first, they lost as well. And seems to be don't finish first and don't be an interstate club because you're no chance at the moment. Looking at a few stats here, the clearances were close, but you could tell the Tigers were much more influential with the way they cleared the ball. And the Crows didn't get much of a look. There was so much talk about Eddie Betts didn't fire, Jenkins didn't fire, Tex didn't fire. Look at these numbers, 49 inside 50s, and if you have a look at the disposal efficiency of the Crows and some of their players here, go to the advanced stats, I mean, just wasn't really good enough from some of their stars getting a lot of the football. You can understand Tex and those other guys up forward. They said their forwards didn't have a great day. Their midfielders didn't have a great day because they didn't apply enough pressure, not only to help their defence out, but not able to move it forward in an effective way because Richmond's pressure was just far too immense and too much for the Crows. And it's so intriguing how it almost seems this final series that it's basically whichever team can show up and apply the most effective pressure and keep it there for the longest seems to win. And as we have seen, there's been just blowouts left, right and centre. Momentum more than ever. And it's incredible because what I saw the week before was the Crows doing that to Geelong, and you just wonder how that kind of form can fluctuate from one week to another. Same with Geelong as well. They applied that to Sydney the week before. So, I don't know. It's a really interesting thing, and the Tigers were just consistent enough and did it for long enough, getting the job done. So, they just had a very even contribution. The Norm Smith is a very interesting talking point. But, I guess these clubs, Richmond, break the 37-year drought. Crows, they've been around the mark for the last few years, and I guess even a couple of years prior to that when they were down for a little bit. And, look, they made multiple preliminary finals. They made 3 in a row, or 2 in a row, and then, no, it was 3 in a row. West Coast in 2005 and 2006, they lost at Amy Stadium. And also went down to the Hawks at the G by under a kick, which was crazy. And made it this time, but no good. And I think they'll be back again, no doubt, because they seem to have a great team, great system. So we'll see how that goes there for them. But yeah, I suppose those are the main talking points of the game and the mechanics and sort of a few overriding theories and philosophies for myself. Look at the contested possessions there as well. They were just so much more desperate and just they wanted it. And they got over the line very, very convincingly in the end. The Norm Smith was quite controversial. And before I get into that, I'll give my votes. And I haven't even looked at them, but I will have a look. I don't think any Crows players will be getting them, but I think most of the guys will be at the top. Excuse me. Hooley gets my 3 votes, and Norm Smith, which will be a talking point in the sec. 25 touches, 11 marks, 5 tackles, kicked a goal. I felt throughout the whole 4 quarters, all of the game, he was really, really critical, playing that loose down back. 11 marks, critical, and probably took a lot of intercept marks as well, playing that man behind the ball, and just used the ball so well. And I thought he really set up when the game was there to be won. That is my key point there. 2 votes, Dustin Martin. As we're going to have a look here, 29 touches, got a grab as well. And a tackle, 2 goals too. A lot of them were contested, I've heard, and that's all good and well. I think he was great when the game was probably over. He did some really nice things before to set up a few goals here and there. But I think in the real heat of it, I think Hooley did more and impacted more than Martin did. And that's not saying Martin didn't impact or didn't do anything. I felt Hooley did more over the course of 4 quarters. So take that in your stride, guys. Hooley robbed, and everyone agrees with it. It's been said on Facebook, so that's a good gauge of that. My 1 vote to... I'd have to have a look. Not Prestia. Rewalt's a chance. I've got to go Alex Rance because I had money on him for the Norm Smith. 11 touches, 6 grabs, and also got the 3 tackles. It's interesting because he's rated very, very highly and one of the best defenders of all time. No questioning that at all. But probably didn't get the kudos he maybe deserved, and there were some people saying as well he was a bit stiff as well. If he got 25 touches, he wins the Norm Smith medal, full stop. But because the Tigers' pressure was so good, he couldn't get enough of the ball. interestingly enough. But I think his role was absolutely pivotal in stopping the Crows from getting those easy goals they get out over the back. And well, luckily enough, Richmond's pressure was far too good to allow that in the first place. And I guess a special shout out Jack Riot, fantastic tackling pressure. Had that written down on his wrist. A few notes there. Kicked a few goals as well and took some big contested marks when they needed to be done. Shout out for the Crows. You can only really hold your head if you're Matty Crouch or Rory Sloane. Crouch had a lot of the ball, didn't do a whole lot with it, but he was getting it and under immense pressure every time he did get it. Sloane very good in the first half, probably Norm Smith medal at half time, maybe before then, but no support and no one else stepping up other than that. So it won't be any real chopping block or player review, but yeah, I sort of mentioned a few players there. But I suppose I can have a bit of a chat about the sides here. But as we can see, such an even contribution from the Tigers. Not all great numbers, but they all just play their role. They all, quite in layman's terms, they beat their man. And the Tigers system and players just getting the job done on their role, they helped them a long way. And they got the job done in the end. Not so much on the Crows side of things. That's so many just down. Otten couldn't get near it. Eddie Betts kicked one, maybe held as well. Could have got a couple, but minimal influence. It wasn't down there much. And just so many players with average numbers that just couldn't get it done. Taylor Walker was talked about, pretty disappointing. Kicked two. So, yeah, he did what he could. Tommy Lynch as well held. Doesn't really read too well there. Douglas was held, and just so many players didn't get the influence. And there might be some nice numbers there, but they're not very effective numbers. So, look, it was a very tough day at the office, and they've got to sit on that for another 6 or so months, and that'll be very tough for them to endure that. But they'll learn a lot from it, as Don Pike said in the presser. And I suppose, yeah, the Norm Smith, is, I've probably talked about it in my player review to the death there, but yeah, Batchelorley probably should have won it. Even some, people watching the grand final they were saying Batchelorley as well, and they're not, super into the footy, but even they could sort of pick that one out as well. And I think maybe it was a bit rough. I can put Dusty in the top 4 or 5. That's all good and well, but I think the romance behind it probably outweighed sort of the decision in the end. And the numbers influenced them maybe a bit too much there. But anyway, I'm gonna harp on that. I'm already interested about the result, but yeah, that's it. My review, and I guess overriding emotions on the grand final. Disappointing we couldn't make it. Crows, I reckon we could have maybe done a bit of a better job, but we'll never know, unfortunately. I think we played at the MCG slightly better than Adelaide, but can't have it all, can we? So, Tigers get it. First time in 37 years, and should be very proud of yourselves. Maybe some more to come. Maybe the premiership hangover like the Dogs, since they played in similar fashion. I'm not sure if we'll go to that extent. I'm just going to call it because it's happened previously to the Dogs. They certainly won't have the hunger and desire next year, I wouldn't have thought, but I'm happy to be proven wrong with that. So that's my review. That's my thoughts on the 2017 Grand Final. If you guys have any thoughts, chuck them in the comments below. That'd be great, and good to get a bit of feedback on that as well. And yeah, keep clicking back for these videos, guys. Really appreciate your support. Subscribe for these. It'd be great. Like the video. And stay tuned. And I'll catch you guys all next time.